Good afternoon, and thank you for taking the time to watch this today. If you're 65 or older and still enjoy the independence that comes with driving, I have some important information to share with you about 7 significant driving law changes taking effect across the United States in January 2026. I know that after decades behind the wheel, 40, 50, or even 60 years of safe driving, hearing about new rules and regulations can feel frustrating. You've been driving safely all your life. You know the roads, you know your vehicle, and you've maintained a clean driving record. However, these changes are real. They're being enforced right now in some states. And by January, they'll be nationwide or expanding rapidly into new territories. Whether you drive every day to run errands, take weekly trips to visit family, or only drive occasionally for medical appointments or social events, these new rules will directly impact you. What I'm about to share could save you from expensive tickets costing hundreds or thousands of dollars, insurance increases that could last for years, and legal complications that could affect your ability to drive independently. This isn't meant to alarm you. It's practical, factual information that will help you stay informed, stay protected, and continue driving safely and confidently. Let me be clear from the start. These changes apply to everyone with a driver's license. There's no special exemption for experienced drivers. There's no grandfathering in based on how long you've been driving. These are new rules that affect all of us equally. But with proper preparation and awareness, you can navigate these changes successfully and maintain your independence on the road. Now, let's go through each of these 7 changes carefully so you have a complete understanding of what's ahead. Change number 1, expanded hands-free cell phone laws with steeper penalties. The first and perhaps most widespread change involves cell phone use while driving. You might be thinking, I thought there were already laws about that, and you're right. Many states have had some form of hands-free law for years. But what's changing in January 2026 is both the scope of these laws and, more importantly, the severity of the penalties. As of January 2026, over a dozen additional states are either introducing brand new distracted driving laws or significantly strengthening existing ones. States like Georgia, Ohio, Pennsylvania, California, New York, and Washington are all making substantial changes, and the penalties are increasing dramatically. Let me give you specific numbers. In many states where these laws already existed, first-time violations resulted in fines of $50 to $100. Starting in January 2026, first-time offenses are jumping to $200 to $500 in most states, anywhere from 2 to 10 times what they used to be. For repeat offenses, if you're caught a second time, you're looking at fines between $500 to $1,000, plus points added to your driving record that will stay there for years. In states like California, New York, and Washington, repeat offenders may face mandatory driver education courses. You must pay for yourself, community service requirements, and in some cases, license suspension for 30, 60, or even 90 days. Think about what losing your license for even 30 days would mean. No driving to the grocery store, no driving to doctor's appointments, no visiting friends or family when you want to, no quick trips to the grocery store on your own schedule. No spontaneous drives to your favorite cafe or the park you've been going to for years. For most of us, losing the ability to drive, even temporarily, would significantly disrupt our independence and quality of life. It would fundamentally change how we live our daily lives. But there's another consequence many people don't consider immediately, one that hits your wallet hard and keeps hitting it for years. Insurance companies are paying very close attention to distracted driving violations. They track these things meticulously. If you get cited for distracted driving, your insurance premiums could increase by 15% to 30%, or even more, depending on your driving history and your insurance company's policies. Let me put that in real numbers so you can see what this actually means. If you're currently paying $200 per year for car insurance, which is pretty typical for many drivers, a 20% increase means an extra $240 per year. That might not sound catastrophic at first, but here's the part that really stings. Those increased rates typically stay in effect for 3 to 5 years. Insurance companies have long memories when it comes to violations. So that single violation, that one moment of picking up your phone at a red light, could cost you an extra $720 to $200 in insurance costs alone over the next few years. And that's on top of the original fine you paid when you got the ticket. We're talking about real money here, money that could have gone toward grandchildren's birthday gifts, a nice vacation, home repairs, or just staying comfortable in retirement. Now, let me be very specific about what counts as a violation because this is where many drivers, even careful, experienced drivers, will be caught completely off guard. The rules have changed dramatically from what many of us grew up with, and they're stricter than most people realize. Holding your phone in your hand while driving is illegal, even if you're not actively using it. Read that again. Even if you're not actively using it, even if you're just holding it, even if you're stopped at a red light with your foot firmly on the brake, waiting for the light to change, even if your car is in park, but the engine is still running, if you're in the driver's seat and holding your phone in your hand, that's a violation in most states. The officer doesn't care what you were planning to do with it. The act of holding it is enough. Texting while driving is obviously illegal everywhere. There's no state in the country where this is acceptable. Scrolling through social media while waiting in traffic, even if traffic isn't moving, is illegal. Checking your GPS manually while driving, touching the screen to change routes or zoom in, is illegal. Holding your phone to your ear to take a call, even briefly, even for what you think will be just a quick 10-second conversation, is illegal in most jurisdictions. The only exception, the only way you can legally interact with your phone while in your vehicle, is if you're using a properly installed hands-free device. That means a Bluetooth headset, a phone mounted securely on your dashboard with voice commands enabled, or your car's built-in system if your vehicle has one. Even then, even with hands-free technology, the rules are strict and specific. Your phone must be mounted securely in an approved mount, not in your hand, not on your lap, not wedged between your shoulder and ear like we used to do with landline phones back in the day. It has to be completely hands-free, meaning you're not touching it at all while the vehicle is in operation. Let me walk you through a realistic scenario, something that could happen to absolutely anyone. You're driving to your regular grocery store on a Wednesday morning. It's a route you've taken hundreds of times. Traffic is light. You're not in a rush. Everything feels routine and normal. You're stopped at a red light, car in drive, foot on the brake, waiting patiently. Your phone buzzes in the cup holder where you always keep it. You glance down and see it's a text message. It's from your daughter, or maybe it's from your doctor's office. Either way, it seems potentially important. You pick it up for maybe 3 seconds, just long enough to read the message quickly. You don't respond, you don't type anything, you don't even unlock the phone. You're just reading what's visible on the lock screen. A police officer in the car next to you or behind you sees this. That's a ticket. It doesn't matter that your car wasn't moving. It doesn't matter that you were only glancing at it briefly. It doesn't matter that you had no intention of responding while driving. It doesn't matter that you've been a safe driver for 40 or 50 years without incident. In the eyes of the law, you were distracted and holding your phone while in control of a vehicle. You will be fined. No warnings, no exceptions, no consideration for the fact that you're a responsible person who just made one small mistake. So what should you do? The solution is straightforward, but it requires developing new habits. And I understand that changing habits we've had for years can be challenging. First, invest in a good quality phone mount for your car. These are widely available at Walmart, Target, Best Buy, or online through Amazon. They typically cost between $15 and $30. That's it. A one-time investment of $15 to $30 will save you hundreds or even thousands of dollars in fines and insurance increases. It's one of the smartest, most cost-effective investments you can make for your vehicle. Second, learn to use voice commands for everything phone-related while driving. Modern smartphones, whether you have an iPhone or Android, are remarkably good at understanding voice commands. The technology has improved dramatically in recent years. You can say things like, "Hey Siri, call my daughter," or "Hey Google, navigate to the grocery store on Main Street," or "Call Dr. Johnson's office." I understand if you're not familiar with this technology. If you've never used voice commands before, it might seem complicated or even intimidating. But I promise you, it's simpler than it seems. The phones are designed to understand natural speech. You don't have to use special words or talk in a robotic way. Just speak normally and the phone will understand you most of the time. If you're not sure how to set this up, your family members can help you. Your children or grandchildren probably use these features all the time and can show you in just a few minutes. Or you can go to your phone carrier's store, places like Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile, and the staff there will be happy to help you set it up. That's literally part of their job, and they're usually very patient and helpful, especially with older customers. Third, if you absolutely need to check something on your phone that can't wait and can't be done with voice commands, pull over safely. Find a parking lot, a side street, or any safe place to stop completely. Put your car in park, turn off the engine if you're going to be there for more than a minute, take care of whatever you need to do on your phone, and then continue driving. Yes, this might add a few minutes to your trip. It might feel inconvenient in the moment, but that inconvenience is absolutely nothing compared to a $500 fine, insurance increases that last for years, or the possibility of losing your license entirely, which brings us back to where we started. Losing your independence and ability to go where you want, when you want. Change number two, massive expansion of traffic cameras. The second major change involves a dramatic expansion of automated enforcement cameras across the country. Speed cameras and red light cameras are being installed in hundreds, possibly thousands, of new locations. The fines for violations caught by these cameras are increasing significantly, and the tolerance levels, the amount over the speed limit before you get ticketed, are decreasing just as significantly. I know there's ongoing debate about whether these cameras actually improve safety or whether they primarily exist to generate revenue for cities and states. People have strong opinions on both sides. Regardless of how you personally feel about them, regardless of whether you think they're fair or unfair, the reality is simple. They're here. They're expanding rapidly across the country, and they will catch violations, even completely unintentional ones that you don't even realize you're committing. Starting in January 2026, cities and states, including Illinois, Maryland, Arizona, Florida, Texas, Washington, D.C., and major cities like Chicago, Baltimore, Phoenix, and Houston, are rolling out significant camera system expansions. We're talking about hundreds of new cameras being installed in each jurisdiction. The trend is clear, widespread, and accelerating. More cameras are coming, not fewer. The fines are substantially higher than they used to be. Red light camera tickets now range from $75 on the low end to $500 or more on the high end, depending on the state and the severity of the violation. If you run a red light by several seconds or if it's in a school zone, expect to be on the higher end of that range. Speed camera tickets start around $50 to $75 for minor speeding, going maybe 7 or 8 miles over the limit. But they can reach $300 or more for excessive speeding, which is typically defined as 20 miles per hour or more over the posted limit. Some jurisdictions have implemented escalating penalties, where multiple tickets within a certain time frame, say 6 months or a year, cost progressively more. Your first ticket might be $100, your second ticket 3 months later might be $200, a third ticket could be $400. They're designed to punish repeat offenders more severely. Here's what will catch many drivers completely off guard, and this is really important to understand. The threshold for triggering these cameras has dropped dramatically in the past few years. Speed cameras used to activate only if you were going 11 miles per hour or more over the posted limit. That gave you a reasonable buffer room. Most drivers occasionally drift a little over the speed limit without really thinking about it, and that buffer prevented constant ticketing for minor violations. Now, that threshold is dropping to just 6 miles per hour over the posted limit in many jurisdictions. In some places, it's as low as 5 miles per hour over. Think carefully about what that means in practical, everyday driving situations. If you're driving in a 35 mile per hour zone, which is typical for many residential and commercial streets, and you're going 40 or 41 miles per hour, perhaps just going with the flow of traffic or momentarily not watching your speedometer closely because you're focused on the road ahead, you're getting a ticket in the mail 2 weeks later. And here's the frustrating part. By the time that ticket arrives in your mailbox, you've probably completely forgotten you were even in that area. You have no memory of the specific moment. You can't even defend yourself or explain what happened because it was so minor and unmemorable that it didn't register at the time. Red light cameras are also becoming stricter and less forgiving. Previously, many camera systems had a grace period of about half a second or even a full second after the light turned red. This was designed to account for human reaction time and the fact that sometimes you're simply too close to the intersection to stop safely when the light changes. But that grace period is shrinking significantly or being eliminated entirely in many jurisdictions. Now, if any part of your vehicle, even just your front bumper, crosses the stop line after the light has turned red, even by a fraction of a second, you can be automatically photographed and ticketed. These automated systems don't consider context. They can't. They're machines following programmed rules. They don't care if you were avoiding being rear-ended by the car behind you that wasn't paying attention. They don't care if the light turned yellow when you were too close to the intersection to stop safely without slamming on your brakes and potentially causing an accident. They don't care if you were in the middle of the intersection legally when the light changed. The system detects what it's programmed to detect as a violation, takes a high resolution photograph that clearly shows your license plate, and automatically sends a ticket to the registered owner of the vehicle. It's all computerized and happens without any human judgment or consideration of circumstances. Here's an important legal distinction that many people don't understand. In most states, camera tickets are classified as civil violations rather than moving violations. This means they typically don't add points to your license the way a ticket from a police officer would. However, and this is important, they can still impact your insurance rates if your insurance company finds out about them. And many insurance companies now routinely check for these violations when determining your rates. They have access to databases that track this information. If you ignore a camera ticket thinking it will just go away if you don't pay it, you're making a serious mistake. You could face escalating late fees that double or triple the original fine amount. Your unpaid ticket could be sent to a collections agency, which damages your credit score. In some states, you could face suspended vehicle registration, which means you legally cannot drive your car at all until you pay the fine and clear the violation. What should you do to protect yourself? Drive at or slightly below the posted speed limit at all times. I know this sounds obvious, and I know that in the past, many of us regularly drove 5 or 10 miles per hour over the limit because everyone did it and enforcement was relatively lax. But with cameras everywhere now and very low tolerance for violations, it's simply not worth it anymore. Saving 2 or 3 minutes on your commute is not worth risking a several $100 ticket. Pay close attention to traffic signals, especially as you approach intersections. If a light turns yellow as you approach, the safe choice is to slow down and stop, even if you think you could probably make it through the intersection before it turns red. It's safer for you and other drivers, and it will save you from potential tickets and insurance increases.